Santae Tribble spent 28 years behind bars for a murder he didn't commit. Today, we are deconstructing the catastrophic failures of this investigation. August 1978, Washington, D.C. Santae was only 17 years old when he was arrested for the murder of John McCormick, a taxi driver shot dead during a robbery in the early hours of July 26. What happened to John? At 3:05 a.m., John was on his porch when he was approached by a man wearing a mask. The suspect pointed a gun and demanded money. The only witness, Belva McCormick, John's wife, was startled awake by screams followed by the sound of gunfire. She rushed to the window and saw a dark figure fleeing as her husband lay dying on the ground. Later, at the scene, K-9 units tracked the killer's mask to an alley on 28th Street Southeast, just a block away from the crime. Under intense pressure to solve violent crimes, the police quickly built a theory. They claimed Santae and his childhood friend, Cleveland Wright, were a criminal duo responsible for several robberies that summer. Santae was arrested on August 15 for the McCormick case, but before that, he had already been charged with another homicide involving a flower shop robbery that killed William Horn in June. Investigators searched Santae's home. They never found the murder weapon, but they found .32 caliber ammunition. This was used to manufacture a link between the crime and the suspect. The prosecution's case relied heavily on an informant named B.J. Phillips, who claimed Santae admitted to the crime and identified Cleveland Wright as the shooter. Santae fought back with a solid alibi. His brother, his mother, and his girlfriend all testified that he was at home in Maryland, sleeping, at the time of the murder. But this wasn't the evidence that put Santae away. It was the FBI's microscopic hair comparison analysis. During the trial, the prosecution presented this as irrefutable proof, backed by the testimony of FBI Special Agent James Hilverda. The prosecution told the jury there was a 1 in 10 million chance that the hair belonged to anyone else. This number was a total fabrication. There was no database to support such a claim. Hilverda doubled down, testifying that it was rare to see hairs from different people look identical. He swore to the jury that one of the 13 hairs recovered from the mask matched in all microscopic characteristics to Santae's hair. In January 1980, Santae was sentenced to life. He filed several appeals but failed until 2009, when he read about the case of Donald Gates, another man wrongfully convicted by flawed FBI hair evidence. He sought help from Sandra Levick, a criminal defense attorney who filed a motion for new testing. In 2012, Dr. Terry Melton of Mitotyping Technologies performed DNA tests on the hairs. The results were devastating to the FBI's narrative. Out of the 13 hairs, only 3 were even human. None belonged to Santae. And the most absurd part, one of the hairs that FBI analysts James Hilverda and Harold Deadman identified as human and a match to Santae was actually from a dog. The fact that 2 elite FBI analysts could not distinguish dog hair from human hair is an inexplicable professional failure. But it gets worse. In the 1990s, the Department of Justice began an internal review of the FBI lab following allegations of negligence. They found failures in hundreds of cases. The worst part? They never notified the defense teams, they only informed the prosecutors. On May 14, 2012, the court finally vacated Santae's convictions. But his life was already shattered. During those 28 years, he was beaten by guards and inmates. He contracted hepatitis and HIV after turning to heroin to escape the nightmare of his reality. He lost his father, mother, and sister while behind bars. He eventually received $13 million for his time, but money cannot buy back a stolen life. How did this happen? DNA technology only began being implemented after 1986. If this technology had been available then, the dog hair would have been identified instantly, and Santae's life would never have been derailed. The scandal forced the FBI to review nearly 3,000 cases where microscopic hair comparison was used. Guess what they found? Out of the first 268 cases reviewed, 257, or 96% of them, contained scientific errors. What was once the pinnacle of forensics was exposed as junk science. Santae Tribble died on June 24, 2020, just 8 years after gaining his freedom. He died from the illnesses he contracted while inside that prison cell. The case is closed. Hit the like button. Leave a comment with your thoughts on this failure of justice, and join Team JDAL for more forensic audits. Also, make sure to check the pinned comment below for the official FBI audit reports and primary sources used in this investigation. I'll see you in the next case.